welcome back to the Wedding Buzz. It's your host, Sydney, and today I'm so excited to introduce my guest, Jamie. She's the owner of BTS with Bonfante. Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Bonfante. She's a content creator and a wedding coordinator. So I'll let her dive into the details, but Jamie, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
I'm really excited. Jamie did if you follow along on my Instagram and stuff, we did a styled shoot together about a month ago, which was super fun. And now we've just become like wedding vendor friends, and I'm super excited to have her here and dive in. So tell me about yourself. How did you get into the wedding industry?
Yeah, totally. So I started by planning my own wedding, which was back in October of 2023. And I've always used social media, and I just kind of started documenting like my own wedding across TikTok, just posting things that I was making, DIY projects, things like that. And I started blowing up on TikTok. I mean, like multi-millions of views. 7 million, 5 million. And I was like, oh, this is something that people care about and they want to see it. So I kept documenting, and I kind of came across like the wedding content creator thing. I had a bunch of content creators that were like, hey, can I work your wedding? And at the time I didn't have a budget for it. They were $1,000 and upwards. And I was like, I don't think I can do that. So I told my husband, I was like, hey, maybe this is something that I can do. And he was like, well, we'll see. Let's get past our wedding and then we'll go from there. So it was during my father-daughter dance that my dad was like, you're really good at this. I think you should stay in the industry.
Aww.
Yeah. It's like a really sweet backstory. So
That's
I kind of,
so cute.
kudos to my dad for that. He kind of really pushed me and was like, you should do it. So now I feel like I went to college for the wrong thing.
Doesn't everyone feel like that though? Like my husband studied criminal justice and like he sells boats. Like,
No, yeah. I went to school for psychology, and here I am in the wedding industry.
hey, I feel like that could be useful though.
Right.
The wedding industry, you got to deal with a lot of different people.
Oh gosh, yeah. Definitely the customer service is.
Yeah. So maybe your psychology background will be helpful.
But yeah, so after my wedding, I kind of shot right into it. I got married October 6th, and I applied for my LLC October 23rd.
Aw, that's awesome.
So-
That's awesome. So you've really blown up pretty quickly because you just started less than a year ago.
Yeah, it's been 8 months.
That's awesome. Congrats to you.
Thank you. It's an honor, and it's a blessing, and I love it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Were you working a different job before?
So I am still a full-time behavior therapist, and then I do this kind of on the side.
Awesome.
But it's kind of taken over. I feel like I'm going to have to step down part-time soon.
Yeah, that's awesome. It is like, I feel like everybody in this business starts part-time and then quickly you're like, oh, I can't handle everything, because I had a different job too. And, recently it was like, I can't do, I cannot focus on like weddings and everything at the same time. But that's awesome. So I know you're relocating to Greenville, South Carolina, but what areas do you focus in? Because now you're in South Florida. Are you still looking to do like different markets? Do you travel, or do you really want to focus on Greenville, South Carolina?
So I actually just hired 2 associates here in Florida.
Awesome.
So I will have an associate based in Jacksonville, and then I will have one that's based in Broward and Palm Beach County. And I will travel. I'm open to travel anywhere, go anywhere. But in South Carolina, for me personally, I want to focus on like Greenville, Charleston, Asheville, Charlotte, just those big areas. But I will go anywhere and everywhere that a bride wants to take me.
Yeah, that's awesome. And congrats on having the associates.
Thank you.
That's awesome to like spread your business out. That's amazing. So you can keep serving your market down here.
Yep, that was the goal.
Keep growing. That's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So for those listening who don't know what content creating is, and now you do content creating and coordinating.
Yes, I do.
Nice. Do you have do you focus on one or the other, or is it 2 separate packages, or how does it work?
So I personally would like to focus on content creation, because that is kind of like where like my niche is at and one of my favorite things to do. And I'm kind of doing coordination like once a month. So I will take on 1 wedding a month as coordination and the rest content creation. But I do offer a package in my coordination where I call it like the ultimate bridal bestie, where you get a coordinator and a content creator. So I do both.
That's awesome. And so for those listening who don't know what content creation really is, dive in.
I feel like that is the biggest question right now.
Like,
people are like, what is this? Why are you important? So a content creator is basically like your personal paparazzi. It is someone who follows you around on wedding day, capturing all of those behind the scenes, candid, raw, genuine moments that you are getting to relive the next day. All content creators have a turnaround time of 24 hours. So while you're waiting for those professional photos and your professional cinematography movie video that you're getting from your videographer, you get to see all of what your content creator did for you. You get to see the first look with your dad, first look with bridesmaids, your ceremony, your vows, all of those little moments you get to relive the next day. So say you have a family member, your great grandma who couldn't attend and she wants to see something. You have those ready to send to her the next day.
Yeah, it is so helpful. And I don't think people realize how long it takes for professional photographers and videographers to get the content back to you. Sometimes you're waiting a month,
Right.
2 months. I mean, sometimes it's like 10, 12 weeks. So it might not sound so important, but let me tell you, when you have spent the last year of your life planning this wedding and then it happens and the next day you're like, you have nothing. Like you want to look at things and relive it and like, you know, see how everything turned out. And I like what you said about like some family can't make it and they might really want to see stuff right away and they don't want to wait 3 months to see pictures. And, you know, we live in a social media world. A lot of people are into social media. There's no shame in that game. And so I think it's awesome that they can, it's just a different type of content because I remember for my own wedding, I didn't have a content creator.
I didn't either.
I loved my video and my photos, but like the video is shot horizontal and like I wanted to put my first dance and stuff on my social media pages, but it was really difficult to try to like resize because I'm not a professional videographer. And I was like, I just wish like for Instagram or whatever, I don't need their professional camera quality. The iPhone quality is amazing these days.
Right. The 4K, you get everything cinematic, portrait. It's there. It's already crisp quality for you.
Yeah. It's really a great option. And then like you said, you get it the next day. Even the styled shoot that we did, I was like so happy because, you know, I put all this work into it.
Right.
And then you were like, here you go. Here's everything. And I was like, oh, okay. Like it does look good. And I was like, and I use that stuff for like reels. I still am using it.
It also helps too, because a lot of people have the mindset that, oh, I can just, you know, assign one of my bridesmaids to do it, or I'll just get pictures from my guests. And like, respectfully, I'm so sorry, but your guests might not get the quality that you think you're going to get. And then your bridesmaids are already doing enough. They're either setting up your decor or they're making sure that a mimosa is all like in your hand at all times and just trying to be there for you. They also have hair and makeup. They also have to get ready. They have jewelry and just those little things.
That's what I think. You know, I think people forget with bridesmaids. Yes, they're there to help you. But like if you're going to a wedding as a guest, you're not in the wedding. Most people want to look nice. Like if I'm going to a wedding as a complete guest, not as a planner, not as a bridesmaid or anything, I'm usually like planning in advance. What am I going to wear? How am I going to do my hair? How am I going to do my makeup? I don't want to be like running around and sweaty and this and that. Right. So your bridesmaids, they want to like enjoy and look nice. And if they're trying to like run around and do all this stuff, which like, of course they're there to help you, but they're like, not only are they just like a wedding guest who wants to like look nice and feel nice and stuff, they're upfront in all the photos too. So asking them to like run around and do a bunch of stuff and take photos and this and that, it's, in my opinion, it's just not realistic.
Right.
Like they're there to try to have fun. As a bride, I would think you'd want them to enjoy the day. Of course, they're your bridesmaids. They're there to help you. But like, and what are they going to do? Carry a phone all day? Like,
exactly.
Most bridesmaids' dresses don't have pockets. Most bridesmaids are carrying their bouquet. They don't have a purse. So they don't even have their phone on them. Or your professional photographer is going to get pictures of your bridesmaids holding their cell phones all day long. And it's just like, it's just not practical.
I tell people all the time, your wedding party and your family are not there to work for you, but I am.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of it.
Exactly.
They get to live in the moment, enjoy it just like you want to enjoy it.
Like every wedding day for me as a planner, it's funny because I'll be like doing my hair for the day. And then I'm like, why am I doing this? Because the second I get there, it's going to go up in a ponytail or a messy bun or something, because my job is to work that day. And it really doesn't matter what I look like or feel like or anything. I mean, I usually want to have a nice day, but you know what I mean? Like I'm there to work. Your bridesmaids are not. So that's awesome. Like for you, you're there to work and to get the photos and have, I know what gear do you have? So you use an iPhone, right?
I literally just bought a new work phone to separate kind of business from personal. So I now have an iPhone 15 Pro Max. So I use that. I have multiple portable chargers, all the cords that go with it. I use a gimbal. I don't like to use the gimbal for everything. There are some content creators who do. I just personally use that for, walking shots for a stance, coming back down the recessional. I have a little selfie light that I use because at night the lighting is not that great. So I use it to assist, find, tiny details, detail shot, flat lace, things like that. So all of like your basic social media equipment, phone, gimbal, light, chargers, all of that. I definitely want to get like the Osmo Pocket. That's something that it's like the little Digi Osmo. It's like a 360 camera that kind of follows you around everywhere. It's like a little tiny gadget and I kind of want to get it.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Yeah.
That sounds real fun. But that's another point is your bridesmaids don't have lighting and extra chargers and all the things that they need. Well, I definitely am very pro content creator. How do you work with photographers and videographers? Do they give you a warm welcome? Are they like, who's this girl?
I am so blessed to have not had a negative photographer and videographer interaction yet. I also am very like proactive and very like antecedently introducing myself. I always ask my girls who their photographer and videographer is. And I will always reach out either email or Instagram DM and just say, hi, I'm Jamie. I'm the content creator. Just want to let you know that I'm working alongside of you. My goal is to not be in your way. And I'm always under the photographer. I'm either next to them, behind them, or under them so that I'm never in their way, never in that shot because I don't want to, create a bad name for wedding content creators. That's such a big thing right now is that, we're in the way. We're not, actual media team. So I never find myself in their way. I haven't had a negative like interaction and I'm so blessed to say that because I know some of my friends have and it stinks.
Yeah.
But I know one day I'm going to have that interaction and I'm just, mentally preparing myself for that.
Well, hopefully not. I mean, you might, but hopefully not because if, like you said, if you're actually like, upfront about, hey, I don't want to be in your way and I'm on the side or I'm below. I think that I feel like I've seen it as from a planner's perspective, seen a little bit of a split of some photographers and videographers like, what is this? And then some are really on board. I've actually seen more on board than you would think.
Right.
Because, they get it. They want the reels and stuff. And the thing is, the vendors, I don't know the word. My brain's not working, but like
brain isn't braining.
My brain isn't braining. Benefit. The vendors benefit from it as well. Because I'm sure you'll tag all the vendors and whatnot.
Always.
And the brides will tag all the vendors. So it's really a win like for everybody. I wish that all of my brides had a content creator because if they don't hire one, I end up doing it for myself. Like I'm trying to video and stuff all day long.
There is this new thing going around with photographers and videographers that I haven't had happen to me yet, but there are photographers and videographers who are putting it in their contracts that if a bride hires them as their photographer, that a wedding content creator is not welcomed.
Really?
Yes. And it stinks that I have to say that and that's what's happening. And now I have to tell all my clients to check their contract with their photographer and videographer before hiring me because that is what's going on right now. Yeah. And I think it's more so in California. There's a lot of wedding content creators in California. And I know the girls that I'm friends with out in California are amazing content creators. Their professionalism is awesome. But they've encountered that and it stinks.
I wonder if they just, if they want to add like a content person to their team. So they just want the business or if they're actually against like content creating as a whole. I wonder also if like they're scarred from Aunt Sue putting her cell phone like in front of all their photos and they're like, get out of here kind of thing. But I think it really just comes down to like being a professional and I'm sure that you do a great job. And I've met a few content creators and they all say the same thing. Like, yeah, the photographer's first, they're in front. Like I'm just behind the scenes. I'm behind them.
Yeah, I think, they have to see it from a standpoint is we're not there to take over the media team. We're not there to kick them out of the wedding industry and, let them lose their threshold in like the wedding industry as a whole. We're just an added media team person. We're an addition.
I can tell you that the content, like from the styled shoot that you worked with for me, the content you gave me is just different than the photos I got.
Right.
And I like them both for different reasons.
It's a unique point of view.
Are some of the photos from the photographers better quality or better edited or something.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, but it was different. Now from you, like when I'm trying to make reels and stuff to promote that, I'm using all your content.
Right.
And I had your content like the next day, and it's just different.
Yeah.
It's just different. Well, that's sad that people are putting that in their contract, but hopefully that's just a California thing and not an everywhere thing.
Yeah.
I feel like now I need to be aware of that. Like, oh, that's good to know. I need to look out for that. So let's talk about budget. You mentioned it before that like you found people were really expensive. You try to be more affordable. Are you open to talking about like your prices?
Of course. That is one thing that I'm super transparent about. A lot of brides go through, looking through vendors and they're like, your prices are not on your website. And some vendors make you inquire before they give you their price, their packages, and then it turns away brides. So I have my prices everywhere. It's on my website. It is on my Instagram. If you DM me, I'll tell you. I have a little flyer that I put on social media, and it's specifically because I want to be affordable to brides. So that is something that's in my mission statement in my brand kit. I had it that it says you're affordable wedding content creator. And I will use that title happily and willingly because I want people to be like, oh, wow, like I can actually afford her. Yeah. So I just went through raising my prices actually because I kind of underestimated the amount of work that goes into content creation between logistics, customer service, the actual day of, the editing, things like that. And I do want to take this business full time. So I need to be able to have that income, you know, and kind of, respect myself as a creator.
Yeah.
But I still am affordable and I do things that other wedding vendors don't do. I do the standard 30 days payment in advance, but I offer my couples to break it down into smaller payments. I'm willing to payment plan. So every month you can pay, or I do like 30 days, 60 days.
That really is the beauty of, one good thing of the wedding industry is because I try to do the same thing with my couples. I'm like, if this is how I take payment normally, if you need me to break it down, let's talk. Because if your wedding's not for a year, I might need a certain chunk as a deposit, but do monthly payments if that makes it easier. Right. I don't need, half now, half later. Honestly, it's a benefit to us because then instead of like one lump sum of money, it's like it breaks it down for us too. Where like, oh, okay, I know that every month I'm getting like this amount from this client. But that's awesome that you try to be affordable because I've looked into it and like kind of suggested it for some couples and, the people I've looked into, it's not cheap on top of the photographer and videographer. Right. It is another added expense.
Yeah. I try to stay under $1,000. Like my top tier package for 10 hours is $1,000. So you do the math, that's $100 an hour. Yeah. And then if you're making a monthly payment, if your wedding is 1 year out, $5 a month compared to paying maybe $600 flat right there is going to be a lot easier. You're not going to feel that $5 a month where you might feel that 600 30 days before.
Yeah. No, for sure. For sure. That is awesome. So I ask everybody that's on the podcast, what advice, actually, no, this is not, I don't ask everybody this question. What advice do you give brides whose family just don't understand what this content creating is?
I have them, I'm always willing to explain it. I tell them, hey, if you want me to read that to your family member, if you want me to explain it to them, I'll send them an email, I'll call them, but I try to get them to explain it from the standpoint of you're waiting weeks for your professional photos and your professional videos. Do you want to have something to look at the next day that is going to be quality versus something that, Uncle Steve gave you and it's kind of like blurry, shaky. Yeah. And then, if they have a family member to try to reverse psychology, hit that weak spot. If there's a family member that can't make it, like, hey, this person wanted to make it and they're not going to have anything to look at for the next 6 to 8 weeks, 10 weeks, whatever it may be, we're going to have this to send to them. They're going to be able to feel like they were included and it's the next day. Yeah. The name content creator kind of gives the illusion that it's only for the influencers. It's only for social media and it's not. No. It is for anyone who wants to preserve and capture that.
It's a lot more of the behind the scenes, which I feel like people are appreciating these days. And
it's candid, it's raw, it's genuine.
Yeah. And if, I don't know what, depending on the hours that they book you, but let's say your photography package is only 6 hours or something, maybe people can stagger having you and the photographer. And so you capture some of the morning of them getting ready and the fun, silly moments. And
I have done that.
That the photographer's just not around for. And the photographers also really trying to get the portraits of the whole family and everything. And I feel like it just allows like, you know, it's great when photographers have like a second shooter, and it's almost, you know, like having a third. You're going to get more content and capture more of the day.
You know, photography is very posed, and I feel like that's a style now that people are looking for. I see people who are like ISO photographer, candid. And I'm like, okay, you know, that's great to have those candid photos from your photographer, but that's what a content creator is for. Yeah. Everything behind the scenes, genuine, raw, candid, as it happened. Yeah. And there's just some moments that you can't see in pictures. You know, having a video of it is 10
I love
times
the
better.
video, like just the raw videos of stuff. It's just, it's just so nice to have and to see people's like emotions and stuff. And you got to remember, even if you have a videographer, which no hate on the videographer, like I loved having the film that was made for my wedding, but it's, you know, a 6-minute highlight film and it's beautiful, but like,
it's like a movie.
It's like a movie. And some of the, I just love capturing like some of the raw, real, it doesn't have to be so perfectly edited. It's just nice to have. And whether you post it or not, or if it's just for you, like it's really nice to have something for my own wedding that I did pay my videographer extra for, which I'm sure people can pay you for, is to get my vows, like all of them actually recorded and our first dance and all that. And there's clips of that in the highlight reel, but it's nice to have just the full video. But let me tell you, I paid an arm and a leg to have those extra videos.
Yeah, I have mics. All people have to do is they just have, you know, I do like a content planning and I have a discovery call. So all they have to do is say, hey, I want this recorded. Can you do this? And I have mics.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what does the day of look like for you? Like
a little human with a gimbal running around.
Ignore me. Here I am with my gimbal.
No, but I do a content plan. So not a lot of girls ask for the groomsmen or for like the groom. And I try to get some of the stuff for the groom because, you know, it's a couple. And now like I catch myself all the time saying my brides. And I have to say my couples. It's hard.
I know.
It's so hard.
And it's funny because when I got into this business, I really thought I'd only be working with like the brides. And a lot of my grooms want to say in their wedding day, which is awesome.
As they should.
As they should. It's their day. But it's funny. And there's a few couples that it's like the bride is like, I don't know. Like he's planning everything. I'm like, oh, okay.
That's so funny. My husband, he didn't say much. He was kind of just like, you know, whatever makes you happy, whatever you want. But I mean, he had to say.
Yeah.
There was things that he picked out, you know. But day of I do like a content plan. So I have a Google Doc where I break down what hours I'm going to be there for, what locations I'm going to be at if I'm like switching between locations. And I have like a photos and videos section because every wedding is unique. What one couple does, the other might not. So, you know, if they have like an audio guest book, I had a couple who did like a unity wine ceremony, which was super unique. Not everyone does that. So I have little things there that I know. It's kind of like my checklist. I know that I have to get those videos, even if they're not edited, it's just those behind the scenes moments. And then I have certain edited videos that the couple gets with their package and I break it down and I compare it to their timeline to see, is this happening during the ceremony? Is this happening during getting ready? If it's happening during getting ready, when is the bride's makeup going to be done? When is it not? And I kind of break it down that way. And I kind of go based off the timeline. And that's how I do it. Depending on your timeline, depends what video I'm doing, when I'm doing it, how I'm doing it. And I just kind of maneuver around the timeline, maneuver around photographers and videographers. I'm like, you know the little like noodle balloon?
Yeah.
That's me.
That's me. Just wherever the day is going.
Yeah.
Do you edit the reels for them after or no?
So I pride myself in having a super quick turnaround time right now, just because I'm not as booked as some other wedding content creators. I kind of take like one wedding a weekend and not multiple. So I upload all of my raw files the same night. I'll have them uploaded overnight. And then the next morning I'm editing the reels. So I just worked for an event designer a couple days ago on Saturday. And I edited one of her videos while I was there because she was like, you see that guy over there content creating? I need to beat him. And I was like, okay, I gotcha.
I need to beat him. That's so funny. But that's also, I mean, content creating it's like a full-time job. I mean, like I'm a wedding planner, but I feel like this pressure to be posting
all the time, every day.
And I'm like,
to stay relevant.
This isn't even what my actual job is. It's just me trying to show what my job is.
Right. Times have changed, you know, like word of mouth referrals are great and they're so appreciative, but everything's on social media now. A lot of people find their vendors on social media. And when I do my inquiry form, I ask, how did you find me? And I have all my social media platforms because a lot of my couples truly are from Facebook.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny because when I book a new couple, you know, I'll tell my parents like, oh, I booked a new couple. And they're like, how'd they find you? And most of the time I'm like, Instagram, like online somewhere. Sometimes it's the not. And I have had a few word of mouths and I have had a few, like the venue told them like, oh, call Sydney kind of thing, which is great. And I super appreciate it. But I definitely have had people be like, TikTok. I'm like, oh, yeah, okay. So it's a lot of work. And I love that you do it for, you know, weddings, but you also do it for like the vendors.
Yeah. Birthday, sweet 16, whatever it is. I'm there. I had someone ask me for a graduation, but I was booked for a wedding. Oh. So you really can have a content creator for any event.
Yeah.
You know, like sometimes you'll have a graduation. You might not hire a photographer for that because it's too expensive. Why would you pay thousands of dollars just for someone's graduation when you can just get, you know, a content creator? It's not going to be the same quality. It's not going to be the same product, same service, but it's something, you know.
But the iPhone quality is pretty good.
Yeah.
Like it's pretty good. Yeah. So sometimes it's not even the quality that's so needed. Like it's the convenience. It's who's going to be in, like, I'm sure you've had like a family party or something where it's like the end of the night and you're like, oh, we forgot to take pictures. Like
my rehearsal dinner.
Yeah. Like we forgot to take pictures. That's honestly like 2 weeks before my wedding, I hired like the cheapest photographer in town that I could find for my rehearsal dinner. Cause I was just like, I knew that we would forget. And I'm so glad we did.
Thank God for my sister-in-law. She was the one that was like, pictures, let's go.
Pictures. I was like, thank you. Let's do this.
They're not great, you know, like it's not from a content creator, but it's something.
At least you have something. But no, for sure. It's, if I'm doing even small parties, I'm like, have someone in charge of photos. It doesn't have to be fancy schmancy, but someone who's like, you're the photo person, get everybody together and like, let's do this thing. Okay. So I do ask everybody that's on the podcast, do you have any wedding horror stories?
Oh gosh, yes. But this one is my own fault. So as a content creator, you work from your phone. It is essential to have portable chargers and the cords. So I was at a wedding and I had my portable charger, but the cord, I left it in the car and I had valeted the car. So it wasn't like I could just go to the parking lot, get the cord and come back. I was going to have to pay the valet fee, get the car and then re-valet. So I was like, you know what? It's fine. I had 2 phones. I had my personal and my work. And I was like, we're going to make this work. They were both dying. It was atrocious, but I made it work. She got all the content she needed, that she wanted, that she asked for. It was a rude awakening that I was like, you need to check your bag before you leave.
Did they die?
No.
Just, it was the nerves.
I made it to the car with like 11% on both of them. I put it on low power mode. I dropped the brightness. If I wasn't recording, I had the phone locked and put away because thank God she was late on her timeline. So there was like 30, 40 minutes of just nothing. Like there was nothing for me to record because all the guests were just sitting, kind of waiting. I think she was doing her dress change. So there was absolutely nothing going on. I was like, well, this is a blessing. Kind of worked out for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess it's not total horror because it ended up fine, but it's nerve-wracking for you.
I was like, dang. I was like, I cannot let this phone die. If push came to shove, I would have just paid the valet, brought the car. Like I would have gone through with it 100% to make sure she got what she needed.
But it's like, just the worst feeling. I did a bridal shower and I ordered the linens. It was a whole thing. The bridal shower the bride got COVID, so we had to push it. And so they had to pay all the vendors for the first date and then repay all the vendors for the second date. Like the cake, they were like, that's done. The food, they were like, we already made the food. Like that's done. The rentals, they were like, no, like you have to pay all over again. And so for the second date, they were like, the mom of the bride was like, I don't want to pay all this again. Like, can we please try to do it as cheap as possible? And so I was looking, I was like, there are linens on Amazon that are pretty good quality, to be honest. Like no one's going to know if they're from Amazon.
How would they know?
And so I bought them. like with her card or whatever, but they were shipped to my house. I was like, I'll bring them for you. And a package came. I opened it, looked, and I was like, cool, here are the linens. Put it in the pile of stuff. What I didn't know is that there was another package of linens that I guess came like the next day or something. And my husband grabbed the package and just threw it in the garage. And so I get to this, and this was like pretty early in my business. So I was still, getting the hang of like doing stuff, like pretty nervous of like, oh my gosh, I'm in charge of this. I feel like now I've got my flow of things, but thank God I almost did. Cause I was like, it's just a bridal shower. Like, do I need help? I didn't charge that much for the bridal shower. Hindsight, I should have charged a lot more, but I didn't charge that much. So I was like, if I bring my assistant, I'm going to have to pay her for the day, which I'm happy to pay her for the day, but I was like, I'm going to lose out on like half the money. So I pulled hey mom, you want to help me with this event? Like, you like events, right? And so thank God I brought my mom, because I opened up the package and I'm like, half the linens are missing. Like half the linens. It was like a Sunday morning. I was like, where the heck am I going to get nice linens that match, that are the right size for these tables and blah, blah, blah. And so anyway, my husband was just leaving the house, and the venue was like an hour from our house. Like it was far. So he was just leaving the house, but his job at the time was about like the halfway mark. So he brought the linens to his job that he was on his way to. And then my mom went and met him at his work, but
save the day.
I'm glad hindsight that happened kind of early in my.
It's like a lesson you learn,
A lesson learned.
One of those things.
The client had no idea the linens were there before the client was there. So we're all good. But even if it like doesn't end in horror, that like feeling is just the worst. But you learn, you're never going to not have your chargers and stuff ever again.
Definitely like my contract is like a whole learning thing. Like I just keep adding in new things. I've had some clients that kind of sketchy try to finesse the system, and I'm like, we're not doing this.
It's like when you have a rough day and you get home, it's like straight to the computer editing your contract.
All the time. I literally had a girl cancel on me this past week, 4 days before her event, and she wanted a full refund.
Oh.
And I phoned all my wedding content creator friends. I was like, what am I doing with this?
Did you have a contract with her?
Mm-hmm. And in the contract, it said if she gave me less than 7 days notice, there was no refund.
Yeah,
I mean, then she was trying to like rebook me for the Carolinas. But I was like, I'm a wedding and event content creator. I'm not a lifestyle content creator. I'm not just going to follow you around North Carolina so you get your money's worth. I'm so sorry. I can't do that.
No.
It sucked.
Yeah, that does stink. I mean, I will say most clients are awesome, but once in a while you get people that they just don't understand or don't respect that it's, your life.
It's a livelihood. It's someone's brand, their job, and I always want to try to work with clients, I'm that content creator that's super flexible. I'll work with you, but there's just certain things that I can't do. I can't accommodate. Yeah. And that was just one of them. She wanted me to work on my wedding anniversary, and I was like, no, ma'am. No, ma'am.
No. Nope. And that's, like that whole story that I just said, the bride got COVID, all the other vendors charged the rebook fee. And I could have, should have, whatever, but I didn't have the heart. I didn't have the heart to do it, like
I have one of those. I just put in like a rescheduling fee, but there's just certain times, like if it's one day or a couple of hours, like I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
But if it's one of those things where it's like a whole new weekend and I'm traveling, I got to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's tough. So what is one piece of advice that you want to give anyone? It could be anything. It could be marriage advice. It could be wedding planning advice.
Definitely wedding planning advice for my couples. Your day is your day. No one else's opinion should matter. Go with your gut feeling and understand that you are not hosting this event. You are the guest of honor. It is your day. It is about you. Enjoy every single second of it, because as soon as it's gone, wedding blues are no joke.
They are.
And I feel like that's kind of why I stayed in the wedding industry a little bit, is because my wedding blues were so strong, and I was like, maybe I should have gone like with a further date so I could have enjoyed this a little longer.
Yeah.
But definitely like enjoy it while you can. You're the guest of honor. No one else's opinion matters. If you want to go with certain colors and your mom's like, no, those are ugly. Who cares?
Yeah.
Do what you want.
It's your day.
Yeah.
Chances are she had her day.
Right.
And that's that. Like, if she wants to renew her vows, like, she can do that.
Right.
But,
she can do it over.
I always try to say, like, respect your parents, especially if they're financially contributing. Try to respect them. Try to include them. They're excited.
Yeah.
But it is your day. It's your day. Things should be your way without being, nasty about it. But it is your day, and you should have
the wedding of your dreams.
The wedding of your dreams. Yeah. I remember my sister has been a purple girly since she was little. Like, she's just a purple girl, and she wanted purple bridesmaids dresses. And, some people were like, why do you want purple? Or like, she had, an October wedding, and it was like, she had an October brides. Yeah. And it was beautiful in the mountains of Asheville, like
pretty
fall leaves. And her planner was like, why don't you do like more of like an orangey color palette, fall colors, it'll match, it'll blend. And she was like, because I want purple. And I was like, go off, queen. Like, do your purple wedding. Like, who cares? And it was beautiful.
Right.
It was absolutely beautiful. But she knew she wanted purple. And I'm like, no, don't change it because other people are questioning you. Like, do what you want. So
just be like, hey, I appreciate your input, your advice, but this is really what I want.
Yeah, exactly. Because chances are, if you go with what everybody else wants, you're going to regret it. You're not.
Right.
And that day goes by fast.
Within the blink of an eye.
It's fast and it's done. And hopefully you don't get another shot at it.
I was literally telling my husband, we were talking about the one piece of advice. And I was like, I'm going to say like, you only get this once. He was like, don't say that. You might offend someone.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, things happen.
Things happen. But the goal is that you
do it once.
Everyone's goal is that you're going to do it once. So that's everyone's
go big
goal.
Or go home.
And no, I am going to say you only get it once. Your first wedding, you only get that once.
Yeah.
Even hopefully it's your first and last. If you have more than one wedding, no hate, life happens. I get it. Right. But everyone's like, ugh, like every person who's like, it's our second wedding. Like, we're just going to do a little thing. We're just going to, like, we've already been through this. We already did the big thing.
Yeah. I've heard that a lot.
Right. So it's like, no, it's hopefully your first and last. That's the goal here. Mm-hmm. You're going to do it once. And, if life happens and you end up having to do it 2 or 3, 4 times, like, okay, whatever, no judgment. But it is like your first wedding.
It's the big one.
It's the big one. It is. Mm-hmm. I'm going to say it. If it's your second wedding, it's a big one too. And you guys definitely should celebrate and do it big, in my opinion. I don't think people should have the attitude of like, it's my second wedding, I'm not going to do it. Well, it's still exciting.
Right. It's still your love story.
It's still your love story.
Share it.
But the reality is your first wedding it's the big one. So anyway, hopefully first and last. That's the goal. That's the goal. So where can our listeners find you if they want to follow or book you?
Yeah. So I have an Instagram. My Instagram is BTS with Bonfante LLC. And I also have a TikTok. My TikTok is my personal name, but I use it for both. So my TikTok is Jamie L. Bonfante. And I also have a website, which is www.btswithbonfante.org.
Nice. And you're killing it on your socials, as you should.
Oh my goodness. My TikTok is insane.
Your TikTok's going off.
It is.
I'm
grateful for the reach.
I'm like, what is she? I gotta copy her. I'm like, she used this audio. I should use this audio.
That is me. I feel like I can't go on social media anymore for personal. And I tell my husband all the time, he's like, get off your phone. And I'm like, I'm working. I'm finding the next trend, the next audio, figuring out what's working, keeping the engagement. But
it's a lot.
My TikTok is definitely stronger than my Instagram.
I feel like everyone's is.
Yeah, Instagram is hard. It's very oversaturated. People have the attention span of a goldfish. Mm-hmm. So it's like, how do you...
I also feel like it's a different vibe. Like TikTok is just yourself.
They're so different.
It's different.
I literally just tested that theory. The reel that I put up yesterday on Instagram is almost 5,000. I put the same thing on TikTok, 300. It's like, it's not the same market. You're doing the same thing, but the engagement, the algorithms, the people, it's just completely different.
So you find it easier on Instagram or easier on TikTok?
It depends what it is.
Depends on the content.
It really does depend on the content. So like my 50 States, 50 Brides.
Yeah, wait, talk about that real quick.
Okay,
we have a minute.
I'm doing 50 States, 50 Brides. Basically what I'm doing is I'm doing one wedding in every single state that I'm doing free of service. All you have to do is pay for my travel, which is my flight and a 2-night hotel stay. And that's it. So if your travel fee is $500, I will come and do 10 hours of coverage, 5 edited videos, and you're basically getting my top tier package completely free, which values at $1,000.
That's awesome. That is so exciting.
I feel like I'm at a place where I can give back right now. And I feel like the Lord's just telling me like, you need to do something to reach everyone else. You're reaching Florida, you're reaching South Carolina, North Carolina, but what about the rest of the United States?
That's awesome. How's it going?
So far, so good. I've had over like 100 inquiries. I have like 5-6 calls today. I had some calls over the weekend. Yeah. My scheduler is completely booked out.
That's awesome. That is so cool.
I'm hoping to book someone by the end of the week. I've sent out some contracts. Nothing's booked yet, but all in the right time.
Oh yeah. It's going to. I mean, people will definitely do it.
Yeah.
Because I see people paying other content creators and stuff their full package plus travel and stuff. So people are going to jump on this deal. It's awesome. So
and you want your shout out, 10 hours of content creation, come find me.
Yeah. No, that's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, if you're listening, check her out. Thank you so much for being here. It was so fun. I'm glad that we've gotten to know each other.
Yes.
Yeah.